So welcome everyone to Talk to Experts Tuesday. This is our first session of 2021. Let's all hope that this is a better year than last year. My name is Sue Macaluso and I'm the Senior Community Specialist here at Qlik. Today's topic is Qlik Sense. With me, I have a team of panelists that are standing by to answer your questions. But before we begin, I'm going to turn the call over to Jamie Gregory, who will go over the housekeeping and what to expect and the details of the chat today. And so with that, I will turn it over to Jamie. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Sue. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first Talk to Experts Tuesday session for 2021. We are so thrilled to have you all here. This webinar series was designed to give all of you an hour with a few of our SMEs. You can use this time to ask some questions about the topic at hand, and it also gives you the opportunity to get to know us a little bit. So we do have a few housekeeping items for today. Everyone is muted, so please use the Q&A panel to ask your questions. We will not be necessarily responding via the panel, but we are going to try to get to everyone's questions live today. And if it's something that we don't get to, or if it might take a little bit of time to research, it will be posted in the Qlik community along with the recording in the FAQ. So I will remind everyone a little bit later where that will be. So if you hopped on to get your question answered and then you have to leave, that's totally okay. You should be prompted for a survey, so please take a minute to fill that out and give us feedback on how we can improve these sessions for you, or even suggest another topic that you would like to see in the future. Any and all feedback is, of course, appreciated. If you're not prompted, you can email us any feedback at digital@qlik.com, and I will put that email address in the chat for you guys in a little bit. And then also something kind of new, if you've joined us before, is that you'll see a QR code on the slides today, and that QR code links to the registration page for our next session, so you can go ahead and sign up for that session as well. So please keep in mind, a lot of our panelists today are within Qlik support, but we will not be able to answer questions regarding a specific case, and we won't really be able to answer any scripting or development questions. And we, of course, ask you to keep the questions related to the topic at hand. As Sue mentioned, today's topic is Qlik Sense. It is a general Qlik Sense session. So we'll be taking questions on Qlik Sense Enterprise, Qlik Sense SaaS, or even Qlik Sense Business. So let's go ahead. I do have some familiar faces on the call today. So today I have Andrew Delaney, Principal Technical Support Engineer, Adam Sawyer, Senior Technical Support Engineer, George Thomas, Customer Experience Analyst 2. And I also have a new face on the call today, Tony Strano. He is our Technical Architect. So Andrew, if you'll go ahead and please introduce yourself.
Hi, yeah, so I'm a Principal Support Engineer. I'm based in Europe. I'm originally from Australia. I work mostly with Qlik Sense Enterprise for Windows and focus a lot on performance and stability related cases there.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrew. I had no idea you were originally from Australia. So even we're learning something new today. All right, Adam.
Hey, everybody. My name is Adam Sawyer. I work out of Raleigh, North Carolina. I lead our SaaS team here at Qlik for support. And I also am involved in just a number of initiatives on improving the support experience. So happy to answer questions today.
Yeah, thank you, Adam. And George.
Hello, I'm George Thomas. I'm also in Raleigh, North Carolina. I work on the customer support team, basically mainly with Qlik Sense SaaS, Qlik Sense Business, all that, getting you guys licensed and happy and using the product. So yeah, I'm excited to do this today.
Awesome, great. And Tony.
Yes, thanks so much. Hi, my name is Anthony Strano. I am a Senior Principal Technical Architect in the Customer Success Engineering area. And I've been with Qlik for 8 years. So I focus on assisting customers on engagements to architect their platforms, whether it's going to use Qlik Sense, QuickView, and printing, or any of our other components to build out a scalable solution to solve their reporting needs.
Awesome, that's great. I think you might be the first technical architect we've had on the call, at least in a very long time, maybe like the first session or something like that. So if you guys, anyone out there has any questions about scalability, high availability, anything like that, this is the time to get those questions in. You have a resource here for you today. So my name again is Jamie Gregory, and I am a technical support engineer here at Qlik. I am in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I have been with Qlik for 3 years now. I started off supporting Qlik Sense, QuickView, the cloud, and geoanalytics, primarily on the design and dev side of the house. And then I helped pioneer and move into the community and pioneer that digital support team that you've probably been hearing so much about. So you mostly will see me out in the community in the Qlik Support Updates blog, where I communicate product updates, critical issues, share articles and videos, and just let you know what's happening with Qlik support in general. So I think with that, oh, I do have one more thing. As you can tell, we do not have a product manager on the call today. It's primarily because we're covering all the Qlik Sense products, and that would be a lot of people on the call if we included product managers for all of that. So we're going to try to keep it technical today. If you do have any ideas or want to know what's happening in the product, we encourage you to use the ideas board out in Qlik community, and we'll show you where that is a little bit later today. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. First question, and I apologize, this question came in French, and so it was translated with Google Translate. So how and why to update the version of Qlik Sense, and for what price?
Okay, so that one I assume therefore is talking about Qlik Sense for Windows, since if you're using the cloud, we handle updates. The reason to do it is to take advantage of new features. You can check the release notes, and we put up videos each release to talk about new features, to take advantage of bug fixes that are included in releases and patches, and as to charge, as long as you have a current license for the product, you can, like, there is no charge. Like, it's part of the maintenance fee that you are paying to us covers these patches, they cover these releases. So if you have an older perpetual license, if you're not paying maintenance, then I don't believe you're able to continue to upgrade, but otherwise you're already paying for it.
Yep, perfect. That's great. Yeah, so, and if you have any questions, any more questions about that, or you know, how to proceed with upgrading, it might be a good idea to start the conversations with your account manager, and they can give you a little bit more information as well. So this question was a pretty vague question that came in, but we'll do our best just to give, I think, some general knowledge. So they're just looking for information about licenses.
Okay. Yeah, so that is indeed a pretty general question. Our licensing model is broad and covers a bunch, but also lets us cover a bunch of different niches. So I'm just going to talk about very general things, but know that talk to your account manager, talk to your sales rep. A lot of these things can be adjusted. But when it comes to Qlik Sense, there are 3 different kind of levels of license that you can buy, right? So there is and this is like in terms of usage. So you have a professional user. A professional user is someone that is going to be building applications. You have to buy at least one professional user, because if you don't have a professional user, how are you getting the apps to create, like, how are you getting the apps onto your system in the first place, basically? But those users are able to create new applications, develop applications. You have your analyzer users. These are users that are able to consume applications. Yes, they can build small, like they can build their own sheets. They can build their own visualizations within the application, but they can't build whole new applications. And that gives you, that's what most users generally get access to. And then finally, there is analyzer capacity. And that is like analyzer, except you're not buying it for a specific person, you're buying an amount of time. And that time then gets split up between people. So that especially lets you cover situations where you're not actually collecting individual user information, like you're trying to allow a certain portion of the public or a large pool of people occasional access to a system. And they all have different prices. And as someone that works in support, I am blissfully ignorant as to how much they would cost you. This is a conversation to have with your sales rep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Andrew. Just a reminder, if you can, please use the Q&A channel. There are two, there's a chat and then there's a Q&A section. So please try to use the Q&A channel. It's a little bit easier for us to manage the questions as they come in. So we would appreciate if you can do that. And then I did put the email address in the chat for everyone if you would like to email any feedback. All right, so next question. This is kind of a long one. What is the recommended approach to deal with the QRS notification API? We are rolling out DevOps automation with automated testing of QS apps on the publish event. I understand the notification registration will get lost on restart of an engine. We could not find extended documentation on the matter and wonder which engine nodes we have to monitor in order to re-register the notification request with the QRS, or if the central node is enough. How is that? Qlik alerting. I just read the whole question. How is that achieved with Qlik alerting and not to miss notification events? Is there anything Qlik Sense related here that anyone is aware of?
I mean, the QRS notification API is Qlik Sense related. Yep. Although honestly, this is a lot of detail that I need to go in and check. Tony, would you know much about setting this up?
Other than the fact that if you're going to an engine for a notification, is there a load balance rule that you need to be aware of where that a particular application you want to monitor and is available on that node? But no, not directly. I can't answer that directly.
Okay.
I would just be concerned about the load balance rule if you have one applied.
Sounds good. So we will kind of look into that one a little bit more. If I need to rope in like the Qlik alerting team, we can do that. Or if this is strictly Qlik Sense, we'll try to look into a little bit more, or maybe that person can also look into the load balancing rules as well. All right. Next question. I would like to ask on which platform is best to run Qlik. So Hyper-V, VMware, OpenStack. We are solving the virtualization of the servers and their optimal settings for Qlik Sense. Do you have some recommendations and maybe comparisons of these three platforms? What Qlik customers usually prefer and how this comparison looks like from a performance point of view? This is probably
I can give that a shot. Yeah, I can take a look at that. So many of our customers use VM because that really gives them the ability to spin up machines much quicker, resiliency in the platform. So depending upon, any of the three should not, are going to perform relatively the same. However, what you're going to need to do is understand what is the anticipated usage of the platform. And you're going to need to understand what user concurrency and what we typically call like a three-legged monster. Like, what are the applications, what are your concurrency, and the resources available to be able to support that. So we really take an exercise in understanding that information about what's coming to the environment and what you anticipate to have within the next 6 months or 12 months, and then be able to size to that. But if you have concerns about that, you're looking at most likely a multi-node solution. But again, it all depends upon what your requirements are and for scaling it, for redundancy, and for utilization of the platform. So it's not really a straight answer we can provide you there. I would think any of those would work because most of our customers worked in that environment, use that, use VMware or use a virtualized environment. But you need to understand what's coming and how you need to size for that and how you need to deliver performance with that.
Perfect.
I'm not sure if that answers your question, but you know,
Might give them
it is
some
usual.
guidance.
Yeah, it all depends is really a lot of the times what we have to say, and then we go into this extreme detail of what it could be.
Yep. And so normally I think too, if you are looking to already, if you already have an environment and you're looking to like kind of migrate everything, it might be best to rope in your account manager and get those conversations started, because they can grab you a resource to help you figure out exactly what you need. If this is a new environment, you're a new customer or something like that, you should be already having these, or you should have these discussions with like the pre-sales team or consultants that will also help you with this.
That's right.
All right, perfect. So this one, it's a little bit of QuickView and Qlik Sense. I don't know if you guys, how much any of you have worked with QuickView or anything like that, but are there any tips for migrating from QuickView to Qlik Sense for customers that will not be using SaaS services in the near future? I believe they're referring, we have like a program where you can kind of bring things into the SaaS environment, like your QVWs and things like that. I don't know if you guys have any tips. I do want to mention we did have a session on this kind of thing last year. It might have been a little bit more SaaS oriented, but let me just share really quick. Maybe not so quick, but I will get there. So here, so this is the new community. If people have not seen it yet, they did just do an update like a couple weeks ago. It looks really nice, I think. But if you go here to support, and then go down and then over to support programs, we have the Talk to Experts Tuesday page right here. And then if you go here to the past events tab, we do have the recordings and the transcripts for all of our events from last year here. And there was this session here, migrating from QuickView to Qlik Sense on September 22nd. You might want to take a look at that just to see if there's any kind of tips or tricks for you in there. And then we also do have an upcoming session as well. I don't know if I have the date. I can look for it. But do you guys have any suggestions or tips on migrating from QuickView to Qlik Sense on Windows, it sounds like?
So I'm only familiar with kind of the very general case. I know that there are some applications that you can get from the community, and I think some of them may even be bundled with Qlik Sense these days, which will let you analyze your given applications, so like your QuickView applications, to help you assess how much work would be involved importing them. It's not a simple process. It is the kind of thing where using our customer services, that's not the right term, but using our consulting services would probably at least help you get an assessment as to how much work is involved, and then they may be able to help you more extensively with that transition.
Yeah.
Right.
Tony,
There's
you got-
basically
Tony,
I'm sorry.
Yep.
There's really two aspects of that, right? So one aspect is you've got these QuickView applications that you need to convert to Qlik Sense. The second thing is really the architecture on the Qlik Sense side to be able to support and deliver performance of these new applications you just migrated. So back to Andrew's point, yes, services, professional services can certainly assist in the architecture planning. Also assist with the migration of the coding perspective. We do have initiatives associated to that. Your load scripts can port, but not your UIs. So yes, there is a way to do it. You need to look at two aspects of it, and we can certainly assist.
Great. And I want to say too that in the admin playbook, there is a tool in the admin playbook that can help with that. I'd have to go back through and look through the other recording that we did or the other session that we did, but I'll definitely put that in the FAQ when I find it. It's to help with the migration. It's to help for you to figure out. Oh, it was actually to help figure out like if you need the QVD and like, or not the QVD, the QVW, how much it's used, and if it's actually something that should be brought over to the new environment as well, to the Qlik Sense. So there's a couple of resources in there. I'll try to pull them out and put them in the FAQ for this question, but I would also, of course, suggest that you maybe take a look at the previous session that we had, and then maybe if you have some more questions, you can join the session that we have. We do have one coming up for the migrating from QuickView to Qlik Sense. But thank you guys, that was great. Going back to the API question that we had, Tony, the client responded that they do have load balancing rules, but the help section does not detail anything related to them.
No, I'd have to do some research on that to find out what else you need.
Okay. Thank you. All right, so next question. Can a mapped drive be used as a data source in Qlik Sense?
The answer to that is yes, can be. The service account should own it and should have direct access to it, just to make sure that tasks do not fail, pulling data from that folder. But the answer is yes. And you're going to want to use UNC to get access to that. You probably would want to use UNC because in a multi-node Qlik Sense environment, a D:/map is not going to work on one machine. It's going to fail on another machine. So you got to use UNC notation for that data connection.
Perfect. Okay, great. Thank you. So this one, I'm not sure if we can help with. It's a little bit design dev related. We would like to know how we can add a few value fields in the pivot to get the year-to-date average, to get the year-to-date value of average, and some value fields are non-date fields. Does anyone have any thoughts? No? Okay. So for this, I would suggest, if you haven't already, maybe put it out in the Qlik community. I can show you where to post that question. Just let me share my screen again. All right, so we are at the Qlik community. And again, since everything's changed, this is a good refresher for everybody. If you go up here to forums and then data analytics, Qlik Sense, you could go here to Qlik Sense app development, or you could even do new to Qlik Sense. I mean, it should go under Qlik Sense app development, but to be honest, you might get a little bit more traction under new to Qlik Sense. So you could post it here. Just go here to post a question, enter in your information. If you have any screenshots or just any kind of mock-up or even any data to play with, if you have an app that doesn't have any sensitive data, you could post all that information into a community post. We have a great community. We have a lot of developers out here that they just love jumping in and helping people, and they're all your peers. They're all, you know, different companies and things like that. They just love to help. So I would suggest posting this question in there, see if you can get any traction on it. You can also send the link. You can send the link of the community post to digital@qlik.com, and we can see if we can help you get any traction if needed.
And if I can just add one comment to that, you're going to want to do that in the load script. You're going to need to prep the data in such a way, and if you got non-date field, you're going to have to make a date field, I suspect, and then derive it to a year-to-date value. So no matter what, I agree with Jamie. Post your question, but no matter what, you're going to do something in the load script to transform that data, that non-date data field, to an actual date field, or even carry some additional fields that are going to tell you to help you calculate year-to-date values.
Perfect. Great. Thank you, Tony. And we have a dog. Adam, your dog is joining us.
She's just very interested in Qlik Sense, so there you go.
All right. Sorry, guys. I get distracted very easily by animals. I can't help it. All right.
She'll try to keep her questions to a minimal, so
Yeah.
there you go.
All right. So, okay. How to use the on-demand report chart with Qlik Sense. Does anyone have experience using this chart?
I don't know if it's a typo or I couldn't
I'm not
find.
sure.
I couldn't find it in Qlik Help, so maybe it's just on-demand report.
Yeah, maybe.
Which I think is an imprinting option. So
Might be a little bit of integration there.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll look into this one a little bit offline, see if we can dig up any information for you. If it is indeed end printing related, we will be having an end printing session coming up. So I will definitely get that date out for you so that you can join and ask the question there. It might be a little bit more suited there. All right. Is there a way to dynamically generate a master item dimension measure and assign it to visualization via code?
I don't really know.
Yeah.
I know that I know that you can do some pretty interesting stuff with respect to like creating template apps and pushing things around that way. I've seen one customer that was able, an OEM partner that was able to have a set of template applications, and when a customer chose to implement an app, it would automatically set up something that would create a QVD just with that customer's data and hook up the template apps. Unfortunately, I don't actually have details on how they did that. I just know that they did that.
They've done it. So
maybe
maybe it is possible. So we will. I don't know if you remember who that partner was. Maybe we could try to reach out to them, or we have an internal group that we can probably send this to and get some suggestions on it. So we will do that for you as well, and we'll put any response that we get into the FAQ. Just speaking of the FAQ, you can search for the FAQ. The FAQs go into the support knowledge base here. So you'll find any of our articles in this section. And if you just type FAQ and search, it'll pull up all the FAQs that we have. The majority of the FAQs are from these sessions. So you might just take a minute. But you can take a look. Sorry. Okay, here's the results. But you can, whenever anything gets posted, I put the FAQ in the support knowledge base. I have a blog that links the FAQ and the recording and all of that information for you. So you can take a look at that blog, or you can search for the FAQ here. You can also Google search, of course. We are trying to put everything in. We did implement, if you are not aware, Search Unify, so that you can go in here, search, and it searches everything for you. So you can kind of bypass Google now, but it's still an option. So yeah, so you'll find all the FAQs in the support knowledge base, and I will make sure that I give you guys the link when it's available and via the blog. All right, so we have another question. It's another a little bit off topic. Do you have info about the new end printing version for SaaS deployment? So again, this session is Qlik Sense, Qlik Sense Enterprise, Qlik Sense SaaS, and Qlik Sense Business. So I know that's kind of SaaS, but I don't know that we would have anyone on the call that could answer.
I could answer it, Jamie.
You can? Okay, go ahead.
So Jamie's right. This is a bit off topic, but we'll talk about it today. So when you think about imprinting, what you're thinking about is enterprise reporting. right? And today, InPrinting is a standalone product that allows you to have enterprise reporting use cases handled with Qlik Sense for Windows, right? One of the common asks from the community is, well, hey, can't we just get InPrinting with our SaaS products, right? Right now, while we are looking at a number of enterprise reporting use cases, those will likely be standalone to the SaaS product, right? I can't speak for, if we would ever do InPrinting, right? But there obviously are issues with taking this on-prem product that was designed to work with Qlik Sense Enterprise for Windows and making sure that it could punch a hole through your firewall and talk to Qlik Sense SaaS, right? And so as we talk about enterprise reporting use cases, I think you should expect to see more about that this year. I don't have any specific information and can't speak to it. But what a lot of our clients are doing in the meantime, right? If you're a Qlik Sense or you're a Qlik Sense for Windows user, we do have a hybrid use case for SaaS, right? So what you can do is you can use SaaS using a common single sign-on solution, right? Or at least a common user store to make Qlik Sense SaaS your location for your users to interact with your Qlik Sense, QuickView files, right? And share those up through those hybrid use cases. If you already have Qlik Sense and InPrinting, there's no reason not to do that. We got the question earlier about what if I want to use Qlik Sense, or I want to convert from QuickView to Qlik Sense, but I don't want to use SaaS. Well, there are use cases for that, but primarily what you want to use SaaS for is you want to create one place where all of your users can see all of your Qlik content, right? And if you have that Qlik Sense for Windows instance, there's no reason that you couldn't continue to use InPrinting on that instance today to meet your enterprise reporting needs. So I think that's how I would answer the question for right now. And just if you have any other ideas, there's always the ideation page on our Qlik community.
Yep, that's what I was just going to show you too. Product managers are always looking for everybody's feedback. So the best way to get in touch with them is to go here to the Qlik community, go to ideas. We'll just see if we can click on ideas here. I can't see all the menu options because my cameras are in the way. All right, so here you can search the ideas that everyone has entered in. See if anything resonates with what you're looking for. You can comment on the idea, you can like the idea. That helps increase it to get more attention from the product managers to let them know that it is like a need here. And you can also create your own idea. So you can go back up here. I would just go back up here to suggest an idea, and then you can enter in your idea. I believe that product managers look at this on like a bi-weekly basis or something like that, and they do communicate through the idea. So you can always get I would definitely, always get your voice heard. Come here to the idea section, take a look at the existing ideas already, see if even if it's just like something you're like, oh, that would be really cool, like just let them know. They want to hear that kind of stuff. So this is where you would go to do that.
Just to mention, Jamie, I don't know if you mentioned it, it is only open to customers, partners, luminaries. Yeah. So if you're not a customer,
you have to be logged in.
Yeah, and you have to be logged in.
Yep. So that is our little platform for the ideas, and like I said, great way to talk to the product managers and let them know what you want, because they do want to hear that for sure. All right, let's see. Next question. Can you please recommend how to manage on which server master slaves the task reloads in clusters?
I could take that. I'm sorry, Andrew.
You go.
You're going to want to use a load balance rule, and unless you're going there, Andrew, you could use a load balance rule to say you can only open this app on this particular machine or this particular engine. You may have this might be a multi-node environment because you're talking about master slaves. You may have consumer nodes, so you would include both the consumer nodes and the slave node that you want the engine to load on. I mean, the app to load on, to deal with that, to be able to control that.
So the limitation that you really want to be aware of is load balancing rules determine what an engine is able to open. And engines are used both for schedulers and for your hub. So if you've got a node that both serves applications to your users and reloads, then there's no way of limiting, unless you're also going to limit your users from opening the apps in general, you can't limit what that node will reload. And similarly, if you're going to reload apps on your central node, all apps are always available to the central node. There is no way to disable that. Certainly, there's no supported way to disable that. And so that means that if you let your central node reload applications, it will reload any application. There is no way to stop it. So that's one of the reasons for setting your central node to master only in a large multi-node environment.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. All right. I would like to know if it is possible to load data from Microsoft Planner into Qlik Sense or QuickView and how I do it.
Okay. This one, I just want to, in fact, talk about this in kind of general terms. If you want to find out if a product can load data, you can load data from a product into Qlik Sense or any Qlik product. You want to look at what connectors we have available and how you can get data out of that product. So in this case, I know that I'll just share my screen very briefly. I just need to, yep, thank you. So I know that Qlik Sense has a REST connector. So REST APIs are really common on web products. So you can find out information about the REST connector. As you can see, it works with both QuickView and Qlik Sense. Most of our connectors work with all of our products in that regard. So what I simply did is I just Googled Microsoft Planner API, and the REST API showed up right at the start. So similarly, we have ODBC connectors, and we have OLEDB when you're talking to databases. We have connectors for a lot of specific products, but if you don't see the specific product listed, then it's a good idea to look for some of the more generic protocols. And as you can see, like, you would be able to use the Planner API, provided that API has the details you're after, with our REST connector. I'm not saying that this is something that you can do in an afternoon. I have no idea how complicated it will be ultimately. I am saying you can definitely do it. Unfortunately, this is very much an exercise left up to the reader.
Great, thank you. I think that is an excellent point of, look through our connectors and then look at what's available from the product that you're trying to connect to as well, and see if they have like the APIs that you can connect to and things like that. And we just saw a cat jump too. Squirrel. All right, so next question, is there a difference between Qlik Sense app and hub in a tab or a smartphone? So I think they're looking for differences between Qlik Sense maybe using a browser versus.
No,
they're really talking about the app or if they're talking about the browser.
Yeah, so, there really isn't. But go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, so I mean, there are a couple of different ways that we can take this question. Is there a difference between using Qlik Sense on my phone and Qlik Sense on my desktop in a browser? Yes, in that if you have a smaller screen, apps will reflow to be like the presentation will change so that hopefully the app is more usable. And you can actually emulate this by just making your browser window small as well. But like there is that difference. But maybe you're asking about what's the difference between using Qlik Sense in a browser and Qlik Sense mobile, like the mobile app, in which case you get certain capabilities in the mobile app that you don't get on a browser, most notably the ability to use an app offline. So the ability to download an app and then use it. And that's because the Qlik Sense mobile app allows you to run a version of the Qlik Sense engine on your phone. So you literally can. I mean, there are limitations because the resources available on the phone and the resources available on the server are quite different. But you are able to download, at least depending on the size of the app, most of an application and use that application offline. Yeah. Otherwise, in terms of capabilities, the mobile version of a given application, you can't really build apps on the phone. You can use them, but you can't really build like change things. So there's like, hopefully that answers the different possible questions that were being asked there.
Yeah. If there's anything specific, I don't know if you had anything to add, Tony, but if there's anything more
Gotcha.
specific, okay, great, that you're looking for, just let us know in the questions in the Q&A panel, and we'll try to give you a more specific answer. But I think, Andrew covered most of the basics there. And again, everyone, we have about 20 minutes left in this session, so get your questions in, use the Q&A panel, and ask. You have these resources here in front of you, so take advantage. All right. So next question. I received information that the SaaS add-on for client managed will be discontinued. Is it true?
I can answer that.
We can continue to use the multi-cloud function, or we will have some changes to this feature.
While I'm not an expert on anything with regards to our pricing, it is still on the price sheet. So I've not received any communication that this is planning on being continued, and hybrid with existing Qlik Sense. I'm sorry. Say what again, Andrew?
You said you have received no information that this is planned on being continued. I assume you meant being discontinued.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Andrew. Yeah, that's exactly what I meant. So we have no words on it being discontinued. And hybrid is still a huge part. There are lots of clients that use Qlik Sense Enterprise for Windows every day, and obviously any use case that we can to use our SaaS platform and take over that compute for you and give you our compute so that your users can get analytics, we want to do that. So
perfect. All right, so this one, the Qlik Sense February 21 version brings a sheet visualization condition. Will it be possible to use this to separate the access by device? If so, how do you do it?
So this is a new feature that is coming out with February 2021. To my knowledge, though, it shouldn't be used for access or authorization, I don't think. There may be use cases for that. Still, the tried and true method of doing that, of having an access list in the data load script, like that's still sort of there. What this feature really intends, right, is the ability to enable app developers to write for different target user audiences, right? So this is about tailoring the experience for your users as an app developer. This is not necessarily about access control, right? Because again, the data is still the same, right? You're not blocking off from the data. What you're doing is you're showing a different visualization based on who you know they are, right?
Okay. Thank you, Adam. And we'll try, I mean, as the feature comes out, we get more information. If this is a use case that you're looking for or something like that, I would definitely use the ideas panel or board in the Qlik community to let product managers know that, you're looking, if this doesn't, if this isn't the intended use of what's coming out, maybe, it is something that could be added in the future, of course. So maybe use the Qlik ideas board to get that in there that you need device control. All right, so let's see what is next. We want to clean up our extensions as there are too many extensions that are broken, outdated, not in use. Is there a way to identify these extensions that need to be removed? I tried using Stefan Wolf, I don't know how to say his name, sorry, Sense extension governance, but it is not working. Maybe it is outdated. Also, we cannot close all the apps since we are a big organization. Does anyone have any feedback on how you can take a look at all the extensions that are in your environment and maybe clean them up?
Unfortunately, no, not off the top of my head. Um, I know that there are some limitations, which is to say that until you open a Qlik Sense application, there's no actual information about what extensions it will try to use. So unfortunately, you can't get that information just by like scraping the database for Qlik Sense on Windows, for example. So there are like limitations that make it more complicated than it otherwise might be, but I can't give you a straightforward answer there.
Okay, no problem. We will continue to look into that one as well and see if we can come up with anything. And we will post anything that we find in the FAQ for you. I would imagine that managing your environments and cleaning up extensions is something that, you know, a lot of people would be concerned about. So we will definitely try to do our due diligence and look to see what we can find. All right, so here is a SAS question. So let's assume that I have some QVD files on Qlik Sense SAS. They have been created as a result of script execution or were transmitted to Qlik Sense SAS via Qlik Data Transfer. Is there a way to download those files back to my local computer? The only option I see in the QMC is to delete those files.
So I think I can answer that. So to my knowledge, I'm not familiar with this use case. So, you know, Qlik is really when it comes to transform, it's to transform it into an analytics use case, right? Also, I would be just kind of concerned if I was the user about like access controls of who can download that, right? And so what we currently allow is we do allow you to export the applications programmatically, right? So if you upload a QVD using Qlik Data Transfer, right? If you have a use case for that, I'm not familiar with a particular API endpoint. Maybe that's something we can research for you. But even if it didn't exist, if you have a use case you think would be useful, that would be the perfect place to go to ideation, right? Because as you store more and more data in Qlik, it makes sense of, hey, if I'm an authenticated user, I want to have access to it, right? Especially if I have an API token given through the SaaS product.
Perfect.
If I can add one item to that. So what exactly are you questioning? The quality of the data in the QVD that was generated? Because you can easily just build a Qlik Sense application, whether it's in SaaS or on-prem, to analyze that data and maybe do some control checks of your totals. There's a lot of things you can do to just read that QVD and see what the content is, if that's your concern.
Yeah, that makes sense too.
That's a great point, Tony.
Yeah, absolutely. And something else that I would probably just add, I mean, going back to Adam's point about, you know, concerns about privacy and data privacy and all of that, obviously that is something that Qlik is very concerned about, and we want to make sure that, you know, data is not getting into the wrong hands or anything like that. There is the store option now in Qlik Sense SAS, at least there was, right, Adam? You can store into. You could try storing into a data storage connector that you already have, so something like Dropbox or Google Drive or something like that. It obviously is extra steps because then you have to get it back into, it's not a straight download. It's an added step. But I would think that anyone, like, it is pretty secure. You would already have that data connection set up, so you know that it's authenticated to be used with the product and everything like that. So that is an option as well. You could try maybe is to store it into a data storage connector and then grab the information from there.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about Qlik Data Transfer, right? Like exactly to Jamie's point, you know, your data pipeline into Qlik is ultimately your choice, right? So if you have a cloud level resource, right? So you have S3, you have Dropbox, right? Like if you're doing maybe personal development, right? And it's this public cloud resource, then that's the easiest way to get it into Qlik SaaS. If you have an on-prem resource, right, like QVDs in a UFC drive, right, like or UNC drive, right, like at that point, Qlik Data Transfer is a great middle ground to, I don't exactly need all of Qlik Sense Enterprise for Windows, right? I don't need all of the extra complexity. I just want to take my data on-prem and move it to SaaS using API keys so I don't have to punch a hole in my firewall. That's really what Qlik Data Transfer is meant to be. If there are other use cases around moving information to SaaS and then moving it out, that's where you would just need to either ideation or articulate those use cases, and that maybe we can solve them some other way.
Yep. All right, perfect. Let's see. All right, guys, we have everyone. We have about 9 minutes left. So if there are any more questions, please use the Q&A panel, and let's see if we can get to them. Let's see. Is there any way to know which fields are in use in a Qlik Sense app UI besides Document Analyzer?
Not aware of one. But again, this is not quite my area of expertise.
Do you have any suggestions, maybe, Tony? No? Okay. We can take that one back to the team. Go ahead.
Well, other than DevHub Single Integrator, that lists the objects. When you select the app, you can page through the objects. If that's what they're looking for, that's the only thing I can think of.
Okay. Yeah. We can take that one back to the team and see if anyone else has any suggestions. But definitely using the DevHub is probably your best option that we can think of right now. That is a good idea. All right, let's see. Oh, you're welcome. They said thank you. Okay, let's see. I have an environment in Qlik Sense SaaS that has Mexico City's time zone. Mexico's time zone with the corresponding time in the lower right corner. But when I create a test app and apply the now one function after a reload, I get 1500 instead of what would be my current time of 9 a.m.
So I think this is the difference between the now function. So the now function from a systems perspective is always going to refer to basically the region you're in, right? So if you did this, so I'm assuming you're using like a US based region. If you did this in EMEA, you would get the EMEA's region, right? So there's no connection between you, the user, in your client session, right, in the browser, in the time zone or language of the browser, to the time zone or language used inside of the Qlik Sense script, right? Because the script doesn't have those connections to the browser functions. Maybe an application does, right? Such that that you can auto change the language of an app. But if you were to maybe put in strings, right, like it would maybe default to English, right? And so I think that could definitely be an ideation. But what you likely want to do is, instead of using the now function, you want to actually specify what time zone you want to import, right? Just so that it's similar for your users, and then if that needs to change in the application, you can do some manipulation there. So, but in far as generating the data or pulling in the data, that would be, I think, the way it would be expected to work.
Gotcha. Great.
I wonder if there's a different call you might be able to use. So like UTC apparently returns date and current CUT, which would avoid you needing to worry about what region my code is running in.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That would be an adequate solution, I think, Andrew.
If you have that, can you post it in the chat? Andrew?
Absolutely.
Okay. And someone did post, so thank you, back to the extensions and cleaning up the extensions and everything like that. This is the admin playbook, and there is a place here under extensions and then analyze, curate extensions. And I think this is what can be used to help take a look at all the extensions in the environment and figure out how best to clean those up. So thank you to that person. All right. Can we add, this is probably our last question for the day, but if anyone else has any more questions, please continue to use the Q&A panel. If we don't get to them, we will respond to them via the FAQ. So can we add multiple objects, KPI table chart in the same sheet or tab in the container?
In a container, this is, yeah, where my knowledge is just, I don't actually build applications very much. So I can't say I know the answer. It should be pretty straightforward for someone to at least look up after and give you an answer in the community.
Yeah.
So my understanding is that the container is really about taking like a subset of data, putting it in a particular location, and allowing you to just kind of click through the visualizations you want for that particular space with that particular selection or data, right? So that it's sort of containerized within that location, right? So I think based on that use case and based on the UI of the container, right, where you want to use this is the user's accessing a chart. There's a value of a variable that's going to be common across all three of these containers, right? And that, you know, when you're getting possible count or anything like that, so there wouldn't necessarily be a use case in the same way that like a KPI maybe show one or two numbers, where you would want multiple images within inside of that container, right? It's really meant to be a localized view of that variable set. So I don't think that would be possible, but again, I'm like Andrew. I don't necessarily build apps all day, so but that's kind of my best swag at it.
I haven't played with the container object in a while, but I mean, my understanding is that, you know, all the objects that you want to put in the container, they do go on different tabs within that container. I would have to look into it a little bit more just and play around with it, but I'm pretty sure. But we will clarify for you, because this is not this isn't the best answer, and we do have someone else responding that says you can't. So
Thank you.
I have a feeling I know who that is, but yeah, so they do go on different tabs. I don't know of any other way to put them all on the same tab or anything like that. If that is something that you're looking for, ideas, put it in the ideas. There might be someone else out there that is, you know, looking for the same thing. You never know. So go ahead and put your idea out there. And we are, you know, it is 10:59. That went by pretty quickly. So we'll go ahead and just kind of wrap everything up. Again, if you guys have any questions, or if anyone has any questions, please use the Q&A panel. We will make sure we put them in the FAQ. And so I hope everyone found this hour helpful. Like I said, it went really fast. So everything will be posted. The FAQ will be posted in the support knowledge base. I'll write a blog about everything and let you guys know where those links are for everything. And again, if you could be so kind to give us your feedback on that survey, it just takes a few minutes. We also have a new question added that you can give a shout out to any of our panelists. So make sure you do that to give them all the warm feels. Hopefully they were able to answer all of your questions. If you're not prompted, again, you can email us at digital@qlik.com. And don't forget to sign up for our next session on February 9th. It is on Qlik Geoanalytics. So that is very exciting. It is our first Qlik Geoanalytics session, so it should be a lot of fun. Thank you to all of my panelists, Andrew, Adam, George, and Tony. And on behalf of Qlik Support and Qlik Community, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you again in 2 weeks.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thank
Take
Thank
care,
you,
everybody.
everybody.
Bye.
Have a
Take
great
care.
day.
Yeah.